And then the last couple of games, you've played at an even quicker pace, fast breaking and everything. Some of the passes have been pretty impressive. Kristen was Jerry Rice a couple times the other day. It's been pretty good, no? Like the level of the passing right now.
Yeah, it has. I think good passing is kind of contagious, you know. So when you have one good one, you know, you tend to get other people into the act. You know, sometimes I think we get a little overly cute with our passes, you know, and try to do things that are unnecessary. But I would say for the most part, you know, Paige has set a tone, and, you know, she's not afraid to throw that, you know, that Diana pass that Dee used to throw, you know, where you just throw it from foul line to foul line and try to throw it for a layup. And it just has it, you know, just like bad passing is infectious, so is good passing. And right now, you know, we're in a pretty good spot with that. A lot of people are getting into the act.
Is there anybody on the team that maybe wasn't a great passer at the beginning of the year that, or when they got here, that gets better, you know, from osmosis kind of, or like the contagious thing?
I think the people that are handling the ball the most, you know, and that's missing Anna, who's one of our better passers. You know, Paige and Avina, you know, they seem to be in on most of this stuff. And I think Kristen's gotten to be a little bit better at it. As I said, sometimes we get a little too cute, but you know, Nika, when she keeps her, you know, when she tries to just stay simple, is an excellent passer. So we've added, and Aailyah Edwards is a much better passer than I thought. I didn't realize. And I think Olivia is, you know, she's handling the ball a lot for us at the high post, and she's made a lot of great decisions. And we're playing quicker, as you said. I think these last couple of games, we've gotten up and down the floor quicker, and it's opened the floor up a little bit, so there's more opportunities, and maybe that's contributed to it as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Bonjour.
Hey, Geno. You mentioned the other day a little bit about how you're pleased with Olivia and Aailyah, you know, playing alongside each other. What specifically is it, you know, that allows them to mesh like they do on the court? You know, is there something that's in particular that you like, you know, that you think allows them to work together successfully?
Well, the fact that they're different helps them a lot. They don't step all over each other. You know, Aailyah is comfortable down low. You know, she's comfortable playing a physical game, and Liv is comfortable playing much more finesse game. So opposite sides of the lane, you know, one's high, one's low. They both can put the ball on the floor, but they don't run into each other. You know, defensively, they complement each other because they, you know, they can both, you know, be long enough to cause problems. Aailyah maybe more so on the perimeter, you know, can do some things, and Liv's a better shot blocker. So I just think that because they're opposites, they complement each other perfectly.
Thanks.
Roger.
I did have another question to ask you, Geno, but just to go along with what Vicky was talking about, what makes Paige such a great passer? Is it just confidence? Is it great court awareness or something like that? And then after that, I was just wondering if you guys look so fresh right now. Do you feel like even in this uniquely difficult season that you guys are really hitting your mental stride at this point and just feeling great about where you are?
Well, Paige is a good passer because she sees. The old adage, you can teach people to look, but you can't teach them to see. And she sees. She sees exactly what's out there. And she sees it before it's happened. So she's able to, like a good quarterback, she knows where the wide receiver's breaking, and she'll throw the ball to where that guy's supposed to be. It frustrates Paige sometimes because she knows which pass she wants to throw, but one of our players isn't used to playing with her, so doesn't make the right cut. So she sees it, and then she has the ability to to throw that pass. So when you have those things, you do pass the ball with a lot of confidence, no question about that. And we are a little bit fresher. It seems like we're right in that mode right now that I think we need to be coming into the end of February. We do what we normally do at this time of the year. Practices have been really sharp, and they've been to the point. We're certainly not mentally tired right now, and that probably has a lot to do with, again, we're a little more comfortable with each other, so it doesn't take as much mental energy to get some things done. We've really streamlined what our playbook is, so that's helped, which we usually do at this time of the year. So, we've taken some of the thought out of it, and just try to keep it simple for them.
Sean?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, I was going to talk to you a little bit about what your feeling is right now with 3 games to go before the Big East tournament, before the NCAA tournament. How do you keep the players motivated, knowing that the next few games might not be the toughest test, and are you fine tuning right now?
This particular year, you don't really plan ahead. So I don't know that we're fine tuning because we don't know for certain that we have 3 games. So, and that's the way it's been throughout the season. So we just try to get ready for the next game. And, this is I think this is true no matter what. There's 3 games left in the regular season, and we have a chance to finish the regular season with an undefeated record in the conference. And we have a lot of young kids who have never done that before. So if I have to go into practice and find a way to motivate them, then chances are we're not as good as I thought we were, and we're not going to win anyway. And because every game is a gift, you try to play every game like it means a lot. But it also comes back to the mental state, mentally and physically being fresh. We played tired against Georgetown. We played some really tired games last month. It was really, really hard. And it seems like, you can say, well, which came first, the motivation or the fact that mentally and physically we're not worn down. So I think that they're anxious to get in the gym and they're anxious to play. And that's where you want them to be at this stage in the season.
Carl.
Geno, you think after 35 years you have gone about everywhere, but this will be the first time in Omaha and then the first time at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Last Saturday was first time at Cintas Center. What did you think of the Cintas Center? How about, going to Omaha, going to Hinkle Fieldhouse?
Yeah, never been to either place. And had never been to Xavier. Never been on their campus, never been on the arena. And I'll tell you what's pretty impressive is these small Catholic schools got some great facilities, man. We could learn a lot. At one time, when Gamble Pavilion opened, it was the, new shiny, toy. And everybody wished they had one of these. And what some other people have done in the meantime has been pretty impressive. What Villanova's done to their place, and that's way older than Gamble. What Xavier has on campus. It's pretty impressive what DePaul has built in downtown Chicago. There's some really, really impressive places. And everybody raves about Hinkle Fieldhouse, and I haven't been in it, so I don't know. But I'm anxious to go and see. And I've not been to Creighton, so I'll know more after I go there. But that's been one of the fun things about playing in this league is, one day you'll be playing in a high school gym, like the old days, like when you're at Seton Hall or you're at Georgetown, and another day you'll be playing in a beautiful, amazing facility. So we're getting a little bit of everything, and these next two I think will be great trips.
Do you think part of your team being mentally fresher is that the travel schedule has not been that bad? Like this trip is being, piggybacked in, the long trip to Omaha. At least you're going to Indianapolis and then flying back there. That you're not going, 2 or 3 trips to Texas, a trip to Louisiana. And also you're going to show Hoosiers, before you go to Hinkle.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those kids have watched it. I don't know. I probably should. I've not seen it in a while. Yeah, we we don't get back 2 or 3 in the morning. So we're traveling less. We're spending less time in the air. We're getting home at a decent hour and getting to bed at a decent hour. We actually have a few bus trips, which have been good. Games are earlier in the day, which have been great. The Creighton games early, which will be, really, really good. So a lot of factors have gone into it, but mostly I think it's just been, they've grown up a little bit, our team. They don't hate practice. They've come to embrace the fact that, that practicing well can really make you a good player. And they're starting to enjoy that part of it. So they're feeling better about themselves. And I think it carries over. And we've made a concerted effort to play faster. We always want to play fast, but some years, you got guys, their version of fast and my version of fast are two different things. I should use the word quickly. What they think is quick and what I think is quick are two different things. And we're starting to come to an agreement on what I think it should look like. And it's really helped. Anytime you got to play half court, you got to walk the ball up the floor, run your half court offense the whole time against a team that's sitting there waiting for you. Man, that's a slog. That no slight to any dentist out there, but man, that's like sitting in a dentist chair. It's awful. It's awful. So we're trying to avoid that as much as we can.
Dan Connolly.
Geno, with you guys in the middle of a 5-game road trip, are you more restricted in what you can do with the players on these road trips? I mean, last year, the players talked about CD setting up games for them like trivia or things like that, or going out to eat while they're on the road. But how much are you limited in what you can do with the players on the road with everything going on?
Oh, yeah, it's nothing like it used to be. They're missing out on a lot. They're missing out on a lot. The Georgetown game at Georgetown was the first time I took the team out to dinner all year long, and that would never happen. That would never happen in the past, ever. We're going to try to do something when we're in Indianapolis because it's kind of the end of the season, but we're also very careful. We're very careful where we go. We're private dining room. Everybody's taking all the precautions. Everybody's masked up. All the social distancing part and all that. So we can't do a lot of the things that we really, really enjoy doing that make the travel a lot more bearable. And we may show up on a road trip and say, okay, look, guys, we can't go. Just doesn't work. But so far it's been unlike any other season. And once we get into the conference tournament and the bubble at Mohegan, it's going to be even worse. And then the NCAA tournament is going to be even worse. So they don't have much to look forward to other than the actual games.
Thanks.
We have time for 2 more, so we'll do Alexa and then Charlotte to finish up.
Hey, Geno. We saw a lot of upsets just around the country this past weekend. And it's kind of been the case, it feels like, for most of the season. I'm just curious if when you look at kind of what's going around the country in general, whether you see it as a factor of no team really separating itself, perhaps, as, like they did maybe last year, if you wanted to use that as an example. Do you see that as maybe a product of COVID, a product of just there not being a dominant team based off the players, more parity? What would you maybe attribute that to?
Probably a little bit of all those things. Home and away games are exactly the same now. You get no benefit from playing at home. You get no penalty for playing on the road. The energy level is 0. So when you play, sometimes a team can get juiced up and play great because the crowd is really helping them, whether it's a home crowd or whether it's a road crowd. So you have none of that. So you have to trust the players to bring their own, which that doesn't go over great sometimes. So you have all these factors, you have less dominant teams, correct? You have more good teams moving up, So that combination of a lot of what used to be great teams have come back down a little bit, and some of the other teams have moved up a little bit. So it's narrowed the gap there. So many teams are playing with young kids, this is not exactly, a senior dominated season, so you've got a lot of young players playing for a lot of teams, and, they're going to be up and down. So it should make the NCAA tournament pretty exciting if it stays like this.
And to Charlotte.
Just kind of wanted to go back to when you were talking about getting your playbook streamlined around this time, like normal. Do you feel like you've been able to, I guess, did it take a little bit longer this season just because of the up and down, and to be able to include as much because of the team's age, just what that's looked like compared to years past?
Yeah. In years, depending on what kind of team you have, don't get me wrong. In years past, you might start out with some things, in November, and you really like them and you stay with them the whole year. And that's all you need. Other years, you may start out with, this much stuff in November, and as time goes on, you start to add more things because you feel like, wow, we got a team that's really, really receptive, and everything we throw at them, they get it. This year, we kept adding stuff because none of the stuff that we had worked. So it was for a different reason. Hey, let's try this. Maybe this will work. Hey, let's try this. Maybe this will work. It was every week we were trying, something different to find anything that would work. And, and finally we hit on, one or two things, and we've settled on those things. And that's at both ends too, offensively and defensively. Some years, you can do a lot defensively. Some years you can't. So this particular team, we don't do a lot, but hopefully what we do, we try to do it well, and have gotten better at it. We have gotten better.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We'll have players on in 1 sec.
Thanks, guys.
Ones coming up too. Just kind of getting into that mindset. Coach always reminds us, to be mature about these road trips, come in, handle business, and then, we leave and things like that. And so I think once we have that kind of mindset going into games and things like that, it really helps create a routine for us. And not just in games, but also in practices too. Just come in, work on what we need to, learn what we need to, and prepare for the next game, and then kind of just finish out each time like that. And I think that's also helping us become more efficient in practice, and then carrying that over to games.
Hey, Olivia, Sean Pregame with Fox 61. Coach was just talking about you and Aailyah maybe playing a little bit different style of game. He says you're a little bit more finesse. She likes to kind of get after it. Can you talk a little bit about that kind of that bond that you two have kind of in the lane, in the paint?
Yeah, I think it's a great dynamic that we have. I think it definitely helps us, especially going, preparing for March and the tournament. And so she's getting better every single game, and her confidence has just soared. And so being able to play with her in the low post, or she's in the low post, and I'm in a high, or vice versa, just kind of getting more experience with the high low, and kind of looking for her, and she's looking for me. I think, we're getting better at that too.
Thank you.
Liv, it's Carl Adamek. How has travel for this team been different than in your first 2 years in that you haven't had to travel as many miles? And you don't have, often like getting, like Coach said, getting in at 3 and 4 in the morning. How has it been different? How do you think it's been helpful for your team from a mental aspect?
Definitely. I definitely think that. I mean, I feel like just for anybody, I mean, playing games like that and then having to come in, 3, 4 in the morning, and then on top of that, having to go in person class. That's something that hopefully, I mean, that's a normal college experience. So maybe the freshmen will get to have that, sometime in their career here. But I think for this team specifically, I think that does help us.
And second question, I know this movie came out before you were born, but have you ever seen or ever heard of Hoosiers?
I have.
You've seen it?
I think I've heard of it. I don't know if I've seen it.
And the reason I
feel
ask
like it's one of those things I should have seen, right?
Well, the reason I ask is the arena you're going to play in on Saturday is where it was where the championship game of it was filmed.
Oh, okay. That's probably a CD trivia question, no doubt.
Well, good. Now you'll be ready.
Right.
Let me ask something quick. What's it like playing with Paige and the way she passes the ball?
She has a great insight for the court, and her IQ is incredible. So she's able to see things, even before it happens or make certain plays happen. And it's really fun playing with her, especially just like her vision and how she's able to kind of incorporate everybody into the offense.
Thank you.
Hey, Olivia, if I could follow up off of Carl's question, it seems like you and Paige just work really well together, whether or not you're screening for her and rolling to the basket or you're passing to her. How do you feel like you've just developed that kind of chemistry, the two of you on the court since the beginning of the season?
I think it really just starts in practice and kind of working on the reads and, passing, especially if she's, backdoor cuts or coming off of, screens and things like that. And if I'm rolling and she definitely looks for rollers, she definitely, is looking for people to pass to and stuff. So I think just working on that in practice from the beginning of the season and trying to just touch up on that every single time and get better at it.
One of the things that Coach had mentioned recently is that he wants you guys to play at a quicker pace because he thinks that that's better than getting kind of bogged down in a half-court offense. Do you feel like the team, especially this team that's such a good passing team, like really thrives off of that? And how do you see that coming together with the postseason nearing?
I think we definitely do thrive off of that and the fast transition pace. And so I think, we're getting better at it, but it's definitely not at the level that we want it to be and that he wants it to be. So I think we're capable of doing more. And I think our transition game will definitely help us going into the tournament and, not just having to rely on the half court offense and getting set and having to go through that, but definitely, make other teams run and keep up with us and then also just get easier buckets too.
This is a little bit of a broader question about kind of the sport, but I don't know how much you've watched other teams. There's a lot of upsets this last week and kind of really this whole season. Do you feel like that could be maybe a product of COVID, or do you feel like maybe it's just there's more parity or fewer dominant teams this year? I don't know if you have any impressions on that and what that also means for you guys going into March, where it seems like any team maybe could really win it all.
Yeah, I can't really speak for, whether it's because of talent or, who's on different teams and what. I do think COVID has affected a lot of teams. It definitely affected our team, for those 2 weeks. So I can only imagine for other teams who have maybe been shut down like once, twice, multiple times, or not at all, that have had to miss games and couldn't get into certain rhythms. So for sure, I think COVID's affected that.
Thanks, Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Olivia, one more from Alan. Just curious, when you guys had that couple day break, 3 or 4 day break after the Georgetown game, the games since then seem to have a different feel. Like you guys came out of that break and said, yeah, we got this. Does it feel differently now than it did maybe a month ago?
Definitely. I think we were talking about that earlier today too. just with the way everything feels, our offense, our defense, especially, because that was one of the big things, we've been struggling with early on in the season. But I think that break was, much needed. And so coming out of it, we had spent a lot of time in practice, kind of just going over what we needed to continue to work on. And then afterwards, just finding that placement with everybody's roles and the way we work together. And I think moving forward, it just keeps getting better.
Thanks.
Hey, Olivia, it's Doug with Hearst. Geno mentioned he's, I guess, scaled back the playbook, you could say, since the beginning of the season. I don't know. I mean, how much has changed in terms of X's and O's in practice? And, is it easier in a sense as you move along here later in the season?
What was that? Sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I think a lot has to do with our chemistry too. That's a really, I think to me, a key piece right now is the reason why things are starting to click together and kind of form together is we have gotten better, on both ends, offense, defense, but it's clicking the right places at the right time because of chemistry and just the way we've been able to work together in practice and things like that.
And a separate question, Geno meant he also said that you guys were able to get on the out to dinner for the Georgetown game. Obviously, it's different this year with everything, but was that a nice change of pace just to get out and because obviously road trips have been very unique this year.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely nice to be able to just go out with my team and kind of enjoy that aspect that we don't get to do much of anymore. So it was definitely fun. Definitely a great time.
Any other questions for Olivia?
I guess I'll jump in again if no one else has one. Your passing, I noticed your assists are up, and everyone that's kind of the offense flows better when everyone's passing like this. I mean, have you made a concerted effort to work on that aspect of your game? Do you feel like that's an area where you've grown your passing?
I think so. I was talking to Coach about it at one point, and just kind of realizing my role in the offense. I get a lot of touches with the ball, and realizing that I'm trying to look for the open person, look for the open cutter, somebody coming off a screen, things like that, that can just translate into quicker, easy buckets or just get somebody open at the right time. So I definitely try and make a concerted effort to be an efficient passer.
And what allows you to play with Aailyah as well as you have?
I think just her IQ too. Her IQ and her toughness down low definitely help a lot. And she's also, willing to look for me as I am for her, especially in high low. So I think playing with her makes it a lot easier just from those simple factors. And she only just continues to get better each game. So it's really cool to see.
Hey, Liv, this is Vicky Fulkerson from the New London Day in Connecticut. I was wondering, you guys have been passing the ball so well lately. Is that just kind of infectious? Were you a good passer when you came to UConn? And how much fun is it like to have Paige and Nika, and then like you've gotten in on the act, and Evina has been passing well, and everybody's kind of getting in on the act. Do you feel like it's been going really well passing?
Yeah, I think it's contagious for our team. Just finding the open person, making an extra pass. And it's also fun to play like that too. I think we all believe it's fun to play like that. So that definitely helps when we're also just trying to look for each other and just trying to get the easiest bucket, most wide open shot that we can. So I think all that working together in our offense really does kind of showcase, we're looking for the extra person, and, we're all trying to help each other out in that way.
Liv, what is like you, Kristen, and Avina, what are each of your roles kind of? And like Avina is more talkative maybe, or you're some people are more quiet, but how do the three of you split up the leadership roles for the team?
Just kind of recognizing our strengths and like you said, some people are more vocal, some people are more quiet, but definitely recognizing strengths, recognizing what we need to work on, kind of applying that to the team and trying to guide them in the best way as possible.
And then that includes so to be a good role model for the younger kids, but then like say Kristen went through a slump and or if you had a bad game or Avina had a bad game, you help each other too, not just the freshmen. Sometimes you have to help each other.
Definitely. That like what you said, it carries further than just helping the freshmen out. And thankfully, we have in my position, I have two other people, two other leaders too that can help me out whether I'm going through a slump or a bad game. And I think it's the feeling is mutual from all of us. And so that's also a really cool part about having not just one or two people as the position leaders like that, but three of us, just trying to keep each other in check and trying to just make sure, we're all here for one another.
Does anyone have anything else for Liv? All right, thanks, Liv. I'll move everyone else into Aaliyah's room.
Okay.
That's breaking down his defender, getting by him, going to the basket, being very versatile, inside, outside perimeter player. So I kind of just saw him in my brother. So it was great to be around that all the time. When we're in the gym, he would kind of be my Kobe in a way.
Hey, Aailyah, Sean Pregame with Fox 61. Hope you're well. Real quick, we were talking with Olivia a short time ago, and Coach was talking about you and her really kind of taking over there in the paint and really feeding off each other. You play a little different style of game. Can you talk to that a little bit for me?
Yeah, Liv and I think we have a great feel for the game, especially inside. We're really cohesive in our movement, and that shows because we're building opportunities off our cuts, off our positioning, and recognizing what the defense throws at us. I think that, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of times where we're in the high-low situation and we're abusing those opportunities either way. That's down low in the post with the seal or at the 17-footer hitting a jump shot. So I think just keeping our defense on the toes really what helps us be successful down there in the post.
Thank you.
Hi, Leah. This is Alexa from the Current. I'm not sure if this is, we haven't really met you in person, so maybe you would have a different read on this. But, I feel like from an outside perspective, it seems like your tenacity on the court, maybe kind of contrast, like off the court, you just seem like, very friendly and, kind of calm and self-spoken. So I don't know if you would see kind of or agree with that kind of contrast there between maybe how you play on the court versus how you're off the court. But if so, where do you think that just like tenacity and that kind of competitive fire comes from?
Yeah. Off the court, I'm pretty chill person. I'm not really as aggressive or that competitive as I am on the court. I kind of see it as when I'm on the court in the gym, you kind of have to carry yourself a certain way so that you can be confident in yourself. You can't be at that chill on the court because that can kind of be your weakness, your biggest weakness as well. So that really just came from who I am as a person, from when I was younger and playing with my mom. Like, that's kind of the stuff that she would teach us. You know, you would hate to play me on the court, but off the court, you'd be my best friend. So that really came from that.
Was your mom, did she help coach you? Did she play herself when she was younger?
Yeah, so she was my first competitive coach, her and my older brother, for 2 years. And her herself, she did track and field. She didn't play basketball, but she's been coaching for basketball for a while.
Gotcha. One more question. Coach has said before that you play Connecticut basketball hard. And I'm not sure if that necessarily, if you have a semblance of what that means, considering like some of the older players that maybe emulated that. But when you think of those words and what that represents, what does that mean to you? And how do you hope to continue to kind of bring that out when you're on the court?
I just feel honored that he said that, because, you know, when you think of Connecticut, you think of that if you can kind of go back to those flashbacks of those older games and older players, how they would dive on the floor to get loose balls, how they would block people and then go all the way down to the other court and do a layup, how they're just like tenacious in everything that they do, and very disciplined as well. So it's just an honor, because when coach made that comment, it's just, I just look back at that and basically seeing myself as those great players. And in a couple of years, that's how I want my career to be, you know, be a professional athlete. So it's great that I'm starting this now.
Thanks, Leah.
Aailyah, I have one more clarifying question, if you don't mind. Just before you had said that you saw Kobe and your brother, I just wanted to confirm, were you referring to your brother Jermaine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Aailyah? All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.